The next topic is animals. Our first word is amphibian. Amphibian. Amphibian is a countable noun. It means an animal that can live both on land and in water. The adjective is amphibious. Amphibious. In the photo there you can see a cute little frog. Frogs are amphibians. And here's a usage tip. Vehicles that can be used on land and water are called amphibious vehicles. A military operation that involves soldiers arriving on land from the sea is called an amphibious assault. So the adjective isn't just used for animals. A couple of sentences. Some people think that turtles are amphibians, but they are actually reptiles. Adult amphibians have lungs, but they can also absorb oxygen through their skin. The next word is antler. Antler. This is a countable noun. An antler is a horn with parts like branches that grows out of the head of a, usually male, deer. In the picture there you can see a deer with antlers. Now the adjective is antlered. Antlered. That simply means having antlers. Male deer use their antlers to fight with other male deer in order to win females. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. Next we have breed. Breed. This is a verb. The first definition is to have sex in order to produce babies. But it's used for animals. We don't usually use it for people. The second definition is to keep animals in a controlled way to produce babies. So that's people keeping animals, but it's the animals that are producing babies. Let's see the word family. As you can see, breed can also be a noun. I mentioned this in the previous section on agriculture. So a breed is a type of animal. For example, Labradors and Dalmatians are dog breeds. They're the same species, but they're different breeds. Next we have the noun breeding, which is the act. And we also have the noun breeder. A breeder is a person who breeds animals. For example, there are dog breeders, horse breeders, etc. Many animals breed in spring. That family breeds like rabbits. Now that's a negative, disapproving way to say that that particular family has a lot of children. As I said, it's not typically used for people, so if you use it for people, it's a bit negative. To breed like rabbits is an informal expression that you will occasionally hear. And the last sentence. Horses have been bred for centuries to have particular qualities. The next word is carnivore. Carnivore. Carnivore is a countable noun. A carnivore is an animal that mainly or exclusively eats other animals. The adjective is carnivorous. Carnivorous. lions are carnivores. Here's a usage tip. Some plants also eat meat. These are called carnivorous plants, and they obtain nutrients from insects and other small animals. The Venus flytrap is a carnivorous plant. Polar bears are considered carnivores because they mostly eat meat. Now we have courtship. Courtship. This can be a countable or uncountable noun. The first definition is special behavior used by animals to attract a mate for producing young. Babies, in other words. It can also mean the period of time during which two people have a romantic relationship before getting married. But that's very old-fashioned. If you talk about dating nowadays, people don't use the word courtship. But you'll see it in older books. And if you watch period dramas like I do, you'll probably also hear the word courtship. Let's see the word family. We have the verb to court. This means to try to attract a mate. In the picture there, you can see a beautiful peacock. Peacocks have quite complex courtship rituals. They're quite well known for that. Let's see a few collocations. We have courtship behaviors, courtship rituals, and animal courtship. Although people often think of birds like penguins and peacocks when animal courtship is mentioned, there are many other animals that display courtship behaviors, such as coyotes, sea turtles, and hippos. They had a long courtship before they got married. Next we have feed on. Feed on. This is a phrasal verb. It's an inseparable phrasal verb, to feed on something. This means to eat something as food, but it's used for animals. You can just say eat, but feed on is often used when talking about animals. Cows primarily feed on grass. Squirrels feed on many different things, including nuts, seeds, fruit, and even insects. The next word is fin. Fin. This is a countable noun. It's a thin body part that aquatic animals, so fish, dolphins, etc., use to swim. The adjective is finned. So if something has fins, it is finned. In the picture there, you can see a dolphin's dorsal fin. That's the fin on the back. Most fish have several fins to help them swim. Now we have forage. Forage. This is a verb. It has a couple of definitions. Number 1, of animals or people. To go from place to place searching for food or other supplies, especially in the wild. Number 2, of people. To search for something with your hands inside something like a bag, drawer, or cupboard. The noun is forager. A forager is a person or an animal that forages. Here's a little usage tip. It is often followed by for. For example, I saw a duck foraging for food in the pond. Monkeys commonly forage for food in treetops. Before people started farming, they needed to forage to survive. She was foraging in her bag, looking for her keys. The next word is gill. Gill. This is a countable noun. A gill is an organ through which an animal, such as a fish, breathes. It's usually used in the plural, so you'll normally hear gills. The adjective is gilled. A gilled animal is an animal that has gills. In the picture there, you can clearly see the shark's gills. Rays have gills on the underside of their body. Now we have the verb hatch. Hatch. It has a few meanings. Here are the main definitions. Number 1. Of an animal like a bird, insect, fish, etc. to come out of an egg. Number 2. Of an egg. To break open so that a young animal can come out. So an animal can hatch and an egg can hatch. Let's see the word family. There we have the noun hatchling. A hatchling is a young animal that has recently come out of its egg. In the picture there, you can see a dinosaur hatching. I didn't know they had such good cameras when dinosaurs were alive. Yes, guys, that was a joke. Baby sea turtles hatch on beaches and then make their way to the ocean. How long do chicken eggs take to hatch? Now here's quite a common idiom with the word hatch, which I think is quite good to know. It's don't count your chickens before they hatch. Although often we just say don't count your chickens. This means don't be too hopeful or make plans based on assumptions, normally positive assumptions. Here's an example. Someone might say to you, I'm sure I'll win the competition, and with the prize money, I'll go to New York. And then you could answer, don't count your chickens before they hatch. There are a lot of strong competitors this year. Now we have herbivore. Herbivore. This is also a countable noun. A herbivore is an animal that mainly or exclusively eats plants. The adjective is herbivorous. Herbivorous. Zebras are herbivores. There are more herbivores in the world than carnivores. The next word is hoof. Hoof. Hoof is a countable noun. It's the hard part on the bottom of certain animals' feet. For example, horses, goats, deer, etc. The adjective is hoofed, although some people say hooved. Both are correct. Hoofed and hooved. People often put horseshoes on domesticated horses to protect their hooves. That little picture there is of a horseshoe. Now the plural of hoof is either hooves or hoofs. Both are correct. And now we have marsupial. Marsupial. This is also a countable noun. A marsupial is a mammal that carries its young, its babies, in a pouch on its body after they are born. A pouch is a pocket of skin. In the picture there you can see a wallaby. A wallaby is a marsupial. A wallaby is similar to a kangaroo. Koalas and kangaroos are marsupials. Now we have the verb mate. Mate. This has a couple of definitions. Number 1, of animals, to have sex in order to produce babies. Number 2, to put animals together so that they have sex and produce babies. So this is similar to the verb breed. Let's see the word family. First we have the noun mating, which is the act, and then mate. A mate is a sexual partner. In British English, the word mate can also just mean friend. It's an informal word for friend in British English. Here's a little usage tip. We also say that certain animals mate for life, which means that they keep the same sexual partner for their whole life. For example, swans mate for life. Here are a couple more example sentences. In certain bird species, the females often mate with several males. If you mate a horse with a donkey, the baby will be a mule. And now we have an adjective. This is nocturnal. Nocturnal. Nocturnal means being active or happening at night. The adverb is nocturnally. Most bats are nocturnal. Owls are probably the best known nocturnal birds. The next word is offspring. Offspring. This is a countable noun. It can mean an animal's baby or babies, and it can also mean a person's child or children. But when we use the word offspring to refer to humans, it's normally used humorously. Some example sentences. Animals mate in order to produce offspring. Just when I thought my day couldn't get any worse, my cousin decided to come over with her 4 offspring. It's like I was having a bad day and then my cousin and all her kids came to my house. And just a little usage tip, the plural is also offspring. So 1 offspring, 2 offspring. The next word is omnivore. Omnivore. This is a countable noun. An omnivore is an animal that can eat and survive on both plants and animals. The adjective is omnivorous. Omnivorous. Most bears are omnivores. Many people think that foxes are carnivores, but they are in fact omnivores. Now we have predator. Predator. This is also a countable noun. It has a couple of meanings. Number 1, an animal that kills and eats other animals. Number 2, a person or business that harms or exploits others. Let's see the word family. First we have the noun predation, which means the act of an animal killing and eating other animals. And then we also have predatory, which is the adjective of predator. A tiger is a predator. The great white shark has no known natural predators, although they are occasionally attacked by orcas. The business is concerned about predators entering the market. This word is prey. Prey. Prey is an uncountable noun. It can mean an animal that is killed and eaten by another animal, or a person who is helpless or unable to escape attack. Here's a little usage tip. A common phrasal verb is prey on. If an animal preys on another animal, it kills and eats it. For example, herons prey on fish. A heron is a type of bird. And here are a few collocations. We have a bird of prey. That's a bird that eats other animals. A beast of prey. Easy prey. And to fall prey to something or somebody. That means to be harmed or affected by something, or to become a victim of something or somebody. A couple of example sentences. An animal may be a predator as well as the prey of other animals. Senior citizens often fall prey to internet scams. A senior citizen is an old person. It's a nicer way to say an old person. Now we have scavenger. Scavenger is a countable noun. A scavenger can be an animal that eats dead animals that it has not killed itself. And a scavenger can also be a person who searches for food or other useful objects among garbage or things that other people do not want. The verb is to scavenge. To scavenge means to do what a scavenger does. Vultures are scavengers. Animals that can hunt can be scavengers as well. For example, hyenas, lions, and wolves. Scavengers make money by collecting and selling recyclable material. As I said, a scavenger can be an animal, but it can also be a person. Next we have shellfish. Shellfish. This can be a countable or uncountable noun, just like fish can be countable or uncountable. A shellfish is an animal with no spine that lives in water and has a shell. A crab is a shellfish. Although they look very different, oysters, mussels, lobsters, and prawns are all types of shellfish. Many people are allergic to shellfish. And a little usage tip, the plural is also shellfish. One shellfish, two shellfish. So that's if it's countable. Next we have tadpole. Tadpole. Tadpole is a countable noun. A tadpole is the young form of a frog or toad. You can see them in the picture. Tadpoles live in water and have large heads and long tails. As a child, I used to sit by a pond and watch the tadpoles. And finally, we have vertebrate. Vertebrate. This is also a countable noun. You can say vertebrate or vertebrate. Both pronunciations are correct. Vertebrate, vertebrate. A vertebrate is an animal that has a spine, a backbone, in other words. Let's see the word family. First we have the adjective vertebral, which means relating to the spine. And then we have the noun vertebra. A vertebra is one of the small bones that form the spine. A couple of example sentences. The largest living vertebrate is the blue whale. Less than 5% of known animals are vertebrates. The rest are invertebrates. That there is a jellyfish, which is an invertebrate. So invertebrates don't have spines. Today I'm going to talk about different types of animals. If you categorize animals based on what they eat, you can say that there are 3 types of animals: carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. Carnivores mainly eat meat. Herbivores mainly eat plants. And omnivores regularly eat a mix of meat and plants. Black bears are omnivores, for example. They tend to feed on roots, berries, fish, insects, grass, and other plants. Most carnivores are predators because they need to kill the animals that they eat. Animals that are killed and eaten by predators are called prey. Some carnivores are scavengers. They eat dead animals that they have not killed themselves. Most vultures, for example, are scavengers. But it's possible for an animal to be a predator and a scavenger. Those animals sometimes hunt and sometimes eat what other animals have killed. There are lots of animals that forage, which means that they go from place to place searching for food. Deer, for example, are foragers. If you don't know what a deer is, Bambi is a deer. Male deer and some female deer have antlers on their heads. They grow and shed their antlers every year. They use their antlers to attract mates and as weapons in fights. Deer are ungulates, which means that they have hooves on their feet, just like horses. Another category of animal is marsupials. A marsupial is a mammal that carries its babies in a pouch on its body after they are born. Kangaroos and koalas, for example, are marsupials. Lots of marsupials are nocturnal. In other words, they are mainly active at night. Most frog species are also nocturnal. Frogs are amphibians. An amphibian is an animal that can live both on land and in water. The young form of a frog is called a tadpole. When a frog's eggs hatch, tadpoles emerge. Tadpoles look a bit like balls with tails. Speaking of the water, there are many different types of animals that live in or around water. For example, there are shellfish. A shellfish is an animal with no spine that lives in water and has a shell. Animals that don't have a spine are called invertebrates. Animals that have a spine are called vertebrates. For example, fish are vertebrates. Fish live in water, and to breathe, they have organs called gills. To move through the water, they use their tails and fins. Of course, we can't talk about animals without talking a bit about reproduction. When it's time for animals to mate or breed, some of them engage in courtship rituals. Courtship rituals are special behaviors used by some animals to attract a mate. Animals' babies are often referred to as young. For example, a kangaroo carries its young in its pouch. But we also use the word offspring. An animal's offspring are its babies.